Hey everybody, welcome to the Rise or Die podcast with Stephen M. Lowisz. This is episode 17, Value-Based Relationships. So, let me give you a little story. Last weekend, I was at I think it was Target with my wife, and, it was dark out, really cold, so ran into my truck, and someone put a cart like an inch away from the front of my truck to the point where it was so close that I couldn't actually see it. So as I'm pulling through, thinking there's nothing in front of me, there's no car, all right, I nicked it, and I broke a little plastic piece on the front of my F-150. So I go take it to the dealership today, and the dealership that my family uses, we've been using for like 12 years, since I was actually very, very little, seeing as I'm only 21. And the reason that we've used the same dealership, or more specifically, the same exact car lady for the last like 12 or 15 years, whatever it's been now, we go there because she takes care of us. She will give us every deal that she can, but more importantly, the service is phenomenal. You text her, she responds, happy as can be, 10 exclamations, thrilled that you contacted her. And it could just be the simplest little service request like I had from last weekend when I broke a small piece on my front bumper. Really minor repair, but she's all over it. She has someone come out, not the dealership service repair, because they charge you nosebleed prices and she can't do anything about it. So she brings out a buddy of hers that is supposed to quote my small repair right there and then let me know when I can get it in to actually be fixed. So I go to the dealership today. I'm actually leaving there right now on my way back to work. And it was interesting because I show up, and within 15 minutes, not only did I have an estimate, but it was actually fixed. Because this guy wanted to deliver the same kind of service that Karen, our car lady, does. Karen's phenomenal. Now I'm going to use this guy for any repairs that I need. This is value-based relationships. And it obviously applies to sales, right? The more value you bring someone else, the more sales you're going to get. This woman, every single time I ever buy a Ford and ever will buy a Ford, she has my business, hands down. I don't even care if someone else can offer a better deal, although it's unlikely. She has my service. She will always have my business because of her service. Because she has brought so much value to me that I have loyalty to her. Not just loyalty with dollars, but, loyalty period. And this goes across the board, though. So sure, the more value you bring your boss, the more likely you are to be promoted. The more value you bring to the marketplace, not a sales pitch, not the most benefits, but truly the most value across the board, including service, customer service. That's not something that people talk about anymore. Customer service is just shipped out to India and Thailand and whatnot. No one actually gives a shit about you. Try calling Comcast customer service and then see what kind of headache you have afterward, or how much frustration you have afterwards. Customer service is something that no longer happens. And as a small business, and even if you work for a big business, you yourself are a small business. You're in the business of selling yourself to your superiors, to your boss. But across the board, your life gets better the more value you bring to others. The relationships that you have are more deeply rooted and have more connection in it. You'll experience more fulfillment based on the value that you bring others. So think about when I used to go home to my wife, I would have all these expectations that the house needs to be perfectly clean. I'm OCD, I'm a clean freak. She's the opposite. Okay, but that was my expectation. She was supposed to handle school, make all the meals, make sure I have a lunch for the next day, take care of the laundry, and do all of this while, again, she's going to school 40 plus hours a week, plus homework, plus studying. And I wasn't actually bringing any value to her whatsoever. So I was really, really puzzled, like, why do I have a shitty relationship with my wife? I'm making money. I'm coming home after working my ass off just to work some more. I mean, what does she have going on? And why isn't she meeting these realistic expectations, or so I thought. What I realized was she had no incentive to do jack shit because I was an asshole. I wasn't emotionally there. The kind of service that Rachel needed was emotion, was connection, was appreciation. We all respond to different value, to different service, depending on the situation. There's a book called The 5 Love Languages. I forget who it's written by, but the premise is that we all take kindly to different sorts of, service, or different kinds of value, essentially. One is appreciation, one is acts of service, words of affirmation, buying stuff, yada, yada, yada. But the premise is that we have to invest into relationships. Being in a relationship is not enough. Whether it's a financial partnership, whether it's a marriage, or whether it's kids, it doesn't really matter. What value are you bringing to those in your life that you say matter? What I found was that I would say all these different relationships matter, but then I would treat them like shit. I would ignore them. I would expect a lot, but give nothing in the way that they needed it to be given. So across body, being, balance, and business, I'm really focusing the most on balance right now. What relationships do you need to invest in, and how are you going to do so in the next 24 hours? That's the challenge I'll pose to you as we wrap up episode 17 of the Rise or Die podcast. I'll talk to you guys again tomorrow for 18. Do me a favor, share the podcast with someone that needs to hear a little kick in the pants every day. Talk to you tomorrow for 18.